Hey guys, today I wanted to do a video on art history and what I do with my kids. Art history is something that I've really grown up with. My mom is very into art and I didn't realize it was kind of not a regular thing until I was much older and thought, what do you mean you don't know what this artist is from Spain or whatever else? And I don't say that to be braggy. I just, more than anything, it's just props to my mom. But it really kind of encouraged me to do the same thing with my kids. So I kind of wanted to show you some of the things that I do that I really love. And if you even take one or two ideas away and make it part of your art history for homeschool or even just with your regular life with your kids, I think that'd be awesome. So first up are starting with the young ones. And this is actually a series. I don't know, some of these books, I know that the kids have taken them all over the house and I tried finding them all and I couldn't. So that's how it is in our house. There's like piles of books just in every room. This is In the Garden with Van Gogh and it's just a simple board book, but it's really little. So you can even stick it in your purse or your diaper bag, and just kids really like the bright colors of the Impressionists. And at least my little girl loves flowers. She always likes to see those. So that's kind of a fun thing to look at. These next things are probably one of my favorite series. Even if I didn't like art history, they're like one of my favorite series. And it's Touch the Art. And this one's Tickle Tut's Toes. There's Pop Warhol's Top. And then we also have Brush Mona Lisa's Hair. I know Touch Matisse's Fish is somewhere in the house. And so is there's another one with Van Gogh on the front that has his bedroom in it. I, again, don't know where she put it. We use these a lot. You can see how rough around the edges. And they're board books. But they have little interactive things. So you can see all the different things. I really love it. Touch the Pearl Earring. They're really, really neat. The other thing that I really appreciate is it tells at the bottom of the page what the name of the art is and also where you can find it. So like this one, if you didn't know, little fact, the British Museum in London actually has the second largest collection of Egyptian artifacts outside of Egypt, obviously. And so a lot of this stuff is actually in the British Museum. So when we went there last year, the boys were going around like, oh, that's from that. And it was just really cool. The more you expose kids to different art, the more they notice it. Even just if they see somebody has a postcard with it or a poster at a doctor's office, or if you take them to an art museum. And I think it's really cool. The earlier you start that, again, I didn't realize that was an anomaly until I got older. So definitely use that as inspiration. It's really, really cool. These next few books I wanted to show you kind of all have a similar theme, and they are visiting the art museum. And so in these books, this one's Visiting the Art Museum by Laureen Krasny Brown and Mark Brown. And this one has just different speech bubbles, and it's basically this family who decides to go to the art museum for a day. And it talks about different periods and the like. So there's this one. This one's a series by James Mayhew. This one's actually The Katie and the Spanish Princess. And Katie goes to visit different museums and sees different art. And you can she interacts with it. Again, this is a really cool way to get kids interested in art, is when they are looking at it and seeing it as a story that they are a part of. And you can see her grandma falls asleep everywhere she takes her. And so then she gets to meet, the people in the art and talk with them. And there's normally some trouble caused. And I think kids always like it when other children in stories get in trouble, because then it makes them feel like, I'm not the only one who gets in trouble all the time. And I totally would have knocked that over too. This one is from my childhood. You can see the dust jacket is long gone. But it's The Girl with the Watering Can. And it's a story by Iwa Zadrzinska, illustrations by Arnold Skolnick. And this is actually about the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. So if you are in that direction, definitely pick this one up. It starts off with A Girl with the Watering Can by Renoir. And she goes through causing some trouble. She's a little selfish. She has a little bit of a temper tantrum, and it causes a lot of trouble for some of the other paintings. They all lose their color. And at the end, she has to go back and put the color back into the pictures. And again, anytime you have books that talk about a child is at an art museum and going around and doing different things, it's really cool, because then when they go to an art museum, they can kind of imagine the same things. They can look at the picture and say, oh, that's not a good choice, or I would do the same thing as that kid, or I think that kid is upset or happy or sad. You know, it's just really, really neat. Another thing to do with art history is showing them a little bit about the artist's life. This series is by Lawrence Anholt, and we actually have 3 of these here: Leonardo and the Flying Boy, Camille and the Sunflowers, and The Magical Garden of Claude Monet. I know there's also a few other ones, but basically there's a child that meets up with the artist in each story and kind of learns a little bit about what their lifestyle is, and they also have the actual pictures in the book. And I think that's really a neat way for kids to connect with an artist. I know I fell hard for Vincent van Gogh the more I found out about his life growing up and his adulthood, and kind of I fell in love with his soul and his thoughts even more than his art, probably. So he's one of my spirit animals. Here's another cool thing, Leonardo da Vinci, and it's a pop-up book. So I know that there's lots of different, you can see, from 1990. So yeah, this one's, and it's a pop-up book and it still kind of functions. This one's kind of cool. It shows Leonardo's, one of his paintings, actually, the plaster that he painted it on actually made it kind of get all muddy, but for a little bit it was really cool. And then you can see the Mona Lisa popping up. This is another series, Art for Children by Ernest Rebuff, and then there's this one. You can normally find these at your library for sure. They're the Getting to Know the World's Greatest Artist books, and they have tons of them. So they also have them for composers too, if you're looking at doing music history. So, and I like it because it's simple reading, so maybe up to like 3rd, 4th grade it'd still be fine, but they have some fun cartoons interspersed about the artist's life. This one is probably one of my favorite art history books from being a little kid, and it's Linnea in Monet's Garden. Any Linnea books, there's only like 3 or 4, and I love them all. It's by Christina and Lena Anderson. And in this one, she actually goes to visit Monet's home and learns about what he liked to do, what his family was like. And again, it has different pictures in here. Oh, and it's autographed. I didn't even know that. I've had this one a long time. So this one might be the backup one that I got because I loaned mine out. Oh, that's so exciting. Anyway, so there's that one. Next up, another cool thing to do is all the different coloring book rages now. Yes, they're everywhere, but take advantage of it. Go for it. Get one for you and get one for your kids. This one's just a simple one, and you can print a lot of these stuff off online for free. But we get the ones, I have a Van Gogh one, and then my kids have one. And a lot of times they will even show you at the back of the coloring book what the original piece of art looked like, and then you can try and make it either the same or completely different. And I just think that's a really cool way for a kid to study a piece of art and relate to it. The other thing I wanted to tell you guys is whenever you go to an art museum, don't think of it as taking an opportunity to share any bit of trivia that you know about the artist and the piece of art. Don't even tell the kid the name of the piece of art. Just have them look at it and tell you a story about it. That's one thing I learned when I was being a docent at an art museum near Ball State, or actually on Ball State campus. And it was really a cool way. I didn't realize that sometimes the best teaching is when you shut your mouth. You ask the question, you leave it out there, and you shut your mouth and you listen and kind of ask follow-up questions if they're missing a big piece perhaps, but just say, what do you think the artist was trying to say with this? Do you think this person was important? Do you think they were rich or poor? What time of day do you think it was? Do you think this was a picture that somebody paid for somebody to paint? And then just have them tell you about it. And I think then you can go into reading the little caption next to it or something like that. But you do not have to make it dry. Then that's just going to turn everybody off. The last thing that I like to do for art history is probably one of my favorites, and probably one of the most effective, honestly, is doing games. This game, which I think I've shown another one, is Art Smart, and we got this at the Art Art Institute of Chicago, and it's just basically Go Fish with art cards. They also have several different packs online you can look at. My hair is falling out. I use a pencil all the time to pick it up. So this is just pretty simple. And the other one is Masterpiece, the art auction game. And this one I actually got at a secondhand shop with my mom. So the art auction game, basically, this is kind of a funny story. So the first one, my mom and I found at a secondhand shop, and we were just really pumped about it. It's all different art from the Art Institute of Chicago. You can tell I grew up in the Chicagoland area. And you assign randomly values at the beginning of the game, and you trade with other players, you bid against them, and basically you're trying to end up with the most money at the end of the game. I know that they've redone the game. I have not seen the new version. This version, or this game, it was the best day. I saw it at Goodwill in my town, which never has anything awesome. And it was for like $2, and I called Aaron, because that's my husband, and I was just like, you will never believe this, but I got my own version of Masterpiece for $2. And yeah, because they retail, sometimes I've seen it up to $100 used on Amazon. So I was beyond pumped. But between those two games, my kids can recognize most of the pictures at the Institute that are in the games. And they were going around, and everybody's giving me side eye, because they're like, who are these kids who are rattling off all these different names? But just make art history fun, guys. It's so awesome to get involved with your kids when learning about art. And when we're homeschooling, or even when we're not, we can decide what we teach our kids and what we expose them to. So that's all for now. I'll talk to you later. Bye.